All right, here we go. So this is it. We're gonna take apart these two MacBooks. So let's see. Let's talk about what we have here real quick. So um, we've got what year MacBooks are these, Matthew?
These are a 2014 and I believe 2015 MacBook Pro or MacBook Air, excuse me.
2014 and 2015, right?
I believe that's correct.
Cool. All right. So that's what we're gonna start with, and then of course, I think the first thing to do would be to introduce ourselves. I'm Will. This is going to be a recording of us swapping a motherboard in a MacBook. And then, of course, I have Matthew, who is the owner of these two MacBooks. We're going to try to get a Frankenstein version of these done so that one of them works properly. And remind me again, what's wrong with each of these?
Yeah, so the one on top there, the SSD failed. So it was donated to me.
Okay.
And the good news about that, though, is it does not have the issue with the bottom one there. The bottom one, I won in an eBay auction. It was listed as pristine and perfect, except there's no video out, or it doesn't
No
work
video out.
reliably.
And the
Yeah,
ports are kind of questionable. It's got like a
they are.
dent right here. So
Yes.
basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the motherboard logic board out of this one, right?
No, the other way around.
Right.
So
We're
we're gonna
okay.
take, yeah,
Gotcha.
we're
So we're
gonna.
going to take the logic board out of this one and swap it
Mhm.
into this, or
That
do,
was the idea
okay.
because one of the things about the one on top there is the keyboard has some keys that have seen better days.
So, well, okay, that poses a question, and that is the keyboard's not in great shape, but this one, from an external standpoint, it's got the better ports, right?
No, the one on top there has the working ports.
This has the working ports.
Working ports, but a bad keyboard or a worn out keyboard, and probably not a great battery.
Okay.
Whereas the one on the bottom has a better battery. It's not been cycled as often.
Hmm.
It just has some bad ports that don't work. So
Yeah.
the hope was by swapping out the motherboard from the top one into the bottom one, would keep that battery intact, would have a good keyboard, and be able to use all the ports properly.
Right. Okay. So let me double check myself because I inspected these a little bit. And when I did, I saw that there was damage to the ports on one of them. And it's got to be this one, right?
Hmm.
So that creates a little bit of a problem right out
Okay.
of the gate, right? So if the ports are what's bad in the device, right? We're looking at these
Hmm.
ports.
Yeah.
Swapping the logic board's not going to fix it, right?
Ah.
So even if we did a logic board swap, this one's still going to have port problems.
Yeah. The only port that doesn't work on there is the video out. The other ones actually all work.
Okay, so everything else works. And then this one, all the ports should work, right?
Yeah, all of them work. It just the keyboard is not great and the battery is not great. So if we were able to, I don't know if you can move the keyboard pieces out, but you could do that. But then you also have to think about the battery in that bottom one being a bit healthier.
So the battery is probably swappable. That's probably
Okay.
not a big deal. Um, the keyboard's not the worst thing ever. It's just wear. So this is
It's
where's
missing, yeah, it's missing letters though, you can see.
W. Yep. So this is the E key that's kind of funky.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
overall, this one's in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if maybe we just want to do a battery swap. But remind me again, too, you said one of them has a hard drive that's funky.
Well, yeah, so the one on top there had a SSD that failed.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need
So
to
I believe I
replace the
took it out of
SSD.
there. Yeah, I believe I took it out of there when before I shipped it to you. So it doesn't have anything in there. And that's why we have the SD card, the SanDisk SD card there, uh, to be able to boot an operating system. And then of course we have a fresh
Okay.
SSD.
All right. Well, let's put on some tunes and start walking through this process. Give me just a
Great.
second here. Let's see. Put some really quiet jams on there. And then let's go ahead and take this guy apart. And at the very least, let's see what we're working with. So you're gonna use this machine, I think, for work, is what you're planning on doing?
That's the hope, yeah. Even though it's an older computer.
I think it'll do the trick. You're just gonna be
Yeah.
using it for web surfing.
Yep, exactly. Some websites, nothing too heavy or extreme, and the lightweightness of it is very, very nice. And then being able to plug it into an external monitor. I already verified Bluetooth works on both devices, so.
Excellent. I'm gonna get a magnetic screw holder here to make this a little bit easier on me. Let's see, I can probably get it in frame a little bit. I'm just gonna put these guys. Have you seen this from iFixit? So
I have not seen that.
it's a magnetic board where you can place your screws. It actually comes with a little pen too, so I can write down what everything is on it, which I don't
That's
really
smart.
need that right this second. But what I do need is these magnets so I can keep everything
Mm-hmm.
in
I have a very
place.
similar plastic or rubber, mat to what you've got there.
Oh yeah.
It's just probably a less known brand off of Amazon, but I do like the fact you can store your bits up there and screwdrivers and stuff. It's really nice.
It is. What's not really nice is when you lose a screw. There we go. Yeah, this mat's also got magnets on it, but not really where I'd like them. I'd love them if they were in these grooves right there for the screws, but
yeah. I was using those boxes that are to your upper left above the brush there. Those bigger boxes to put the screws in. And then that way, because it's got a little bit of a lip to it, they're less likely to run away
and go anywhere. Yep. That's a good place for them. But each of these screws, all the screws on this are the same size except for two. You just have to remember it's these two at the bottom. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, this whole magnetic mat is fantastic. Whoo, hot dog, you're gonna get some laptops fixed, hopefully. Or at least one of them. All right, let's go ahead and remove this. I was expecting this to be a lot dirtier. And it was looking pretty good. All right, so this still has a hard drive in it.
Yeah, because that's the one on the bottom there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that one has the SSD that it came with. It just the video out is the culprit.
Is the culprit. All right. So this one. Let me see here. So no, this isn't the one with the video out problem. This is the one that's got the green sticker on it.
Oh, then maybe I must have transplanted that SSD in there.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the other one that you swapped the SSD or took out.
Maybe. It's been some time since I've looked at these machines. So.
Yep, that's why I'm asking you questions as we go. I'm not.
That's all good.
Overall, the board looks like it's in really good shape.
Yeah.
So it's the batteries you think are the troublemakers for this guy.
Yeah, I would imagine the battery's got to be in poor shape, and the keyboard. Again, I don't think you can transplant those keys across computers. Yeah,
I don't think so either. But I don't recall for sure with this model because the batteries look like they're removable, pretty easily removable too. So let's get under that and see what we got cooking. We'll do that first.
So I did have a question because I made a presumption about the motherboards, and I was thinking, I think more the whole logic board of just kind of transplanting the things out. Because if you look where the ports are, my thought was just take the whole kind of the body of what you're looking at there and move it over. But I think that's probably an oversimplification. The motherboard itself is really that section above the battery, right? Or below the battery. So then where do the ports relate to the motherboard? Are they attached? Could you not just take that whole section above the battery out and literally move it? Or are those affixed to the chassis?
Yeah, so they're fixed. So they're soldered on to the logic board, as you can see right here. These are the, let's see, that is the display port.
Yes.
This is the USB. That's the SD card on this side. And then over here, you've got MagSafe, USB, and audio out. All of those are soldered directly onto the board. So Apple did not make these guys very modular.
Okay. So there's no way to really take that whole board out and move it.
I mean, we can take the whole board out, but again, the other device is the one that you're going to run into trouble with, right? Because it's the one that's got the damaged port. And I think that's what's giving you trouble, because if you look inside, it's the port itself, which means it's the logic board, which means you've got a known good logic board in this device.
Right.
And then the other one, you've got a damaged logic board, which you lose the display if you keep the damaged logic board, but everything else you said works. Whereas with this one, you lose a couple of keys on the keyboard. That's your toss up there. Your choice is, do I keep some keys or do I keep the display? And if the battery is better, I think that is relatively easy to swap. We're going to find out.
Okay.
Which, oh gosh, I tell you what, I don't remember what years are the ones that had the batteries were actually just glued in. They're a nightmare.
I know the 2015 MacBook Pro was that way with the keyboard, but I don't know about these.
Yeah, these don't appear to be glued in. I could be wrong though. We'll find out. It has been a long time since I have taken one of these apart. All right, I don't even know yet if I have everything disconnected that I need to in order. So the good news is this is the battery cable. We'll go ahead and shimmy that out. I wish you could hear the music that's playing right now. The recording will have it. Yeah, man, cool. I think this is gonna pop right on out. Look at that. Ease a peas. That was simple. Yeah, so the keyboard on this one is not replaceable.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping to just not keep that device because of that keyboard being so bad. And I was really hoping we could just look at the entire logic board, pull it out, including the fan and everything else, and just slide it in. But it sounds like we really can't do that.
Oh, you know what? I may have been smoking the crack. Because the logic board and the ports are attached, if I take these out and put them in the other shell, they'll come along with it, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, that was my hope.
Yeah.
So if we throw the battery back in there just the way it was, I know you just did that, but now you got it out of the way, and then I would think there's a risk that, moving the motherboards or the logic board between machines is there, but it's a risk I'm willing to take if we can just swap them.
Yep, I think we can. All right, so I just have to start. Yeah, it will definitely work. We can take this out because it'll come with the ports and everything. I was thinking for some reason they were separate. So the next step we have to do in this process is we're going to disconnect all the cables, which is a good time. So here we go. And feel free to ask any questions as I go through this process. The hard part is making sure I have all of these connections disconnected before I pull it out. The other hard part here too is I can't remember how this comes off. Can you even see what I'm doing? It's probably really low quality.
It's tough. If you could zoom in, it would be ideal, but it would be tricky maybe to do that while you're working. So.
Yeah, well, not only that, that's something else I've got to look into is whether or not I have the ability to do zoom using the iPhone camera. So that could be tricky. Doesn't appear to be a place for that.
Okay. If you're unsure about all the connectors, I mean, we could look at. I'm sure there's a logic board replacement.
Yeah,
I fix it.
I probably have the documentation stored somewhere. But I tell you what, while I'm doing this, why don't you look that up?
I'll take a look.
The one I'm most concerned about here is the trackpad connector. That's the one I can't really. I'm not 100% certain if that pops up or if it's pressure is applied just by sliding it in. But everything else.
The tricky part is I have to remember exactly the year of that machine. I don't remember.
Yeah. That doesn't need to come off because that's going to come off with the logic board. This one comes out. Yeah, and that's the other thing we'll discover once we get everything apart is will this logic board match up 100% to everything else.
From what I researched before I sent it to you, and I have to go back and look at my search history because it's been some time, that they're really the only difference is the spec bump in terms of speed.
Yeah, that should mean that it should be good. All right, let's get that guy under there and pop those off. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi disconnected. So we definitely want to swap out the hard drive on this one. Is that right?
I think we were going to use the one that's in the box there, the Evo 990. So we don't need to take. Well, I mean, you can just to see if it'll boot, but honestly, I don't remember what's even on there. But you can, use it for something. Yeah.
I was going to say that. Look, what's the difference between this is a terabyte that you sent me?
Yeah, I think that's like a 128, probably.
Okay, so that'll give you a lot more hard drive space. All good.
Yeah.
While we're sitting here waiting on you to find that.
Okay. So I found one for the 2014, and we're kind of too far along at this point to verify the actual year. But I did find an iFixit guide for the motherboard.
Okay.
It mentions taking the screws out, and then the battery connector. There's a spudger that you need to use for the I/O board cable right next to the fan. So just to the right of the fan. I don't know if you've got that disconnected yet or not.
I think so. I think this might be what they're talking about. This one stays on the logic board. Actually, both of those can stay there, but there's two underneath of it that we have to. Yep, it's probably this one right here.
So it's closest to the ports. It looks like.
Oh,
there's
on this side.
There's one. Yeah, there's one that runs. Yeah, we'll show a second computer here. I could text it to you, I guess.
It's all right. We'll just look through it.
But it's the I/O cable that you have to disconnect. So that cable that runs just below the fan, you have to lift up that, and there's adhesive securing it to the top fan.
Okay.
And then there's on the other side, there's another one that has a deep socket that you have to pull up. So
let's first look at this hard drive because I'm not entirely sure this doesn't look like it's the right size in terms of. I'm just gonna take that real quick and compare the two. So if we look at both of these, yep, they don't have the same connection type. Let's see if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yeah. I thought there was a adapter that I had gotten for one of them.
Let's take a look.
And it's just been so long because I know there was an adapter I bought for
there's an
that.
Adapter in here. I don't know that there is, but there's something definitely underneath. Samsung. Yep, there's no adapter in this box.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember now with the other computer if I had put anything in there. Maybe what I had done, and it's been so long. Well, I don't remember. If you were to open up the other computer and look, I may have left the adapter in there.
Okay.
In the actual socket. I know I bought them together for that purpose.
Okay. we'll set this aside for now, and we'll come back to that. For the time being, I'm gonna put the stock one back in just to keep from losing it or damaging it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see it here with me where I would have stored everything. Pretty sure it was shipped to you. Because you have to, it's a really inexpensive adapter you have to get on Amazon to take a standard SSD and convert it to Apple's proprietary connector.
Let me look inside the box. So I have the box sitting nearby. We'll take a quick peek in here and see if there's anything else. Don't see, nope. All that's in here is the foam wrapping.
Do you want to take a quick look at the other computer and see if there's an adapter?
Well, let's get this logic board out.
Okay.
And then once we've got the logic board out, we can come back to it.
Yeah, what I would recommend at this point, because I think we're doing a sort of a ping pong with the directions, is why don't I send you a link to this page, and then that way you can see what needs to be done.
Okay.
Would you like me to send it to you through the way we're chatting now, or text or something, or what would work?
Send it via text. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming that I've got the year right on this, but here you go.
I don't recall if this fan comes out with the logic board. All right, got those. Now I may not be able to look at those.
It does say removing the fan will also disconnect the fan cable. Be careful not to snag it. So you can take the fan out. Because you're going to take out the speaker connector.
Let's go ahead and get this guy off and make sure there's no connections underneath it.
And then there's another T5 Torx screw.
Okay. Oh, there's some connectors under here. For what? I don't know. One crosses underneath the logic board. The other one's taped up. So that might be a different fan connector.
I think it might be the camera connector it might be thinking about.
Yeah. There's actually nothing connected here. It's just a little piece of plastic. The connector's underneath of this little black piece of tape, as though they're trying to say this doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Let's see, is this glued on? Because if it is, we can just remove that. Yep, it's just glued on. We'll take that off. Yep, there's screws underneath of that anyway, so it's a good thing I did. All right, this one's going to be tricky. I might need something a little bit thinner to get that off. Let's see what we got in the old toolkit here.
There's a fan ribbon cable that it's mentioned not to make sure you don't snag it when you're taking the fan off. There's 3 screws for the fan there. There's a 3.6 millimeter T5,
yep,
a 2.7 millimeter T5, and a 3.6 millimeter T5 for the short head. So
I see all 3 of them here.
Yeah.
This guy is the tricky guy. I may have to take a totally different approach to this. Did I bring, let's see here. I need, the other thing I could try to do is just grab it with tweezers.
And there's
there we go.
There's a hinge retaining flap that you have to pry up just to the left of the, well, I guess it would be in your right of the fan.
Right here. This is the hinge module right there. Okay, so we've got pretty much everything up. You know, I should have left that hard drive off in case there were some screws under there. I didn't double check, but we'll come back to that. I still have the task of getting this guy off. So did you see how is this a lift? Sometimes these lift.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me see if I can find that spot before you go any further.
Yeah, that's what I need to know. Is that a lift, or do I just tug it out?
Why am I not seeing that on the instructions here? You might want to look on your phone and see. I may have passed it. Yeah, I think.
It's all right. Take your time there. I think I'm gonna try to blow it off a little bit.
Oh.
Get some dust out of there. While you're doing that, I am gonna set this aside. I'm gonna crack open. Yeah, I think I'm gonna crack open the other one. I want to see how similar the logic boards are and check out this hard drive situation.
So it looks like, from what I can tell in where you were showing on the screen there, it looked like the battery connector, which you've already disconnected.
It's not the battery, but it's close to that. So the battery connector should be just to the, if you've got the logic board facing you, should be just to the right of that. To the left of that, it's the trackpad connector that we're looking for.
Okay, so it says use the tip of a spudger or your fingernail to flip up the retaining flap on the trackpad ribbon cable ZIF socket. Be sure you're prying up on the hinged retaining flap, not on the socket itself. So this is step 23 in the guide if you want to look at the link I sent you.
Oh, you know what? There it is. I had it backwards. All right, we've got it. That was easy enough. Yep, there it is. It's free. Okay, so we've got that free now.
Yeah, it just says make sure you reconnect it, otherwise your battery and your keyboard
won't
and your
work.
trackpad won't work.
That's right. Yeah, we are good there. Okay, so with that being said, maybe I will hold off on pulling this apart just yet. Actually, I'm going to do it because I want to make sure that before we go and pull this logic board that we actually have an identical machine that will accept it. Otherwise,
might I recommend putting the screws somewhere else so you don't get them mixed?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I've got them in a different square.
Cool.
In case you want to see what we got cooking here.
Nice.
I wonder where the pen for this is. Oh, there it is. We're going to use that. I am going to name this first one 1. And we're going to write case for that. This is the battery. That's 1. And this is 2. Case. So there we go. We've got everything marked up so you can see it. That'll help keep things in order. One thing that'll be really fun once we start streaming instead of recording is the jams are gonna be hot.
Nice. Do you have to worry about any permissions on your music, or
No, I Signed up for a service that handles it.
Nice.
And it's all just like nice chill. Like the kind of music I would probably listen to while I'm working. Be relaxed. So, good buddy of mine, he just celebrated his birthday over the weekend. We went and ate dinner with him at this Korean restaurant. It was really, really good.
Nice.
But I told him he's got a Game Boy Advance, right? And I was like, you know what?
Uh-oh.
Just bring that guy with you. Send it home with me. I'm going to mod it for your birthday.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So I figured we'd do that. Okay, so this is what you were talking about. This is what you need. Oh. Well, the good news is that this board's damaged in more ways than one, or at least it doesn't look right. It looks like the screw here is stripped. So that's one thing that we'll be able to replace and resolve. And then, of course, this is your bad port right here. It's your display port. So the battery looks approximately the same. Board, I'm comparing the two right now. Looks approximately the same. I see all the same connector types. Yep. Yeah. Cool. I think we're good. I think we're onto something.
Fantastic.
The only way we'll find out. Let's swap her out. This needs to set aside completely because that is not what I need. Yeah, this is barely even held in place.
Oh.
Right, so we'll set that apart. Good news is I can go ahead and snag this now. And have that ready to go. You want me to put the old one back in this one?
You can.
Why don't we do that?
I'm just trying to remember, one of them wasn't working. So I'm just trying to think how
Well, this one would definitely not be working because there's nothing in this tray. Right? So this is an adapter. This guy.
Oh, right. Yeah. So the adapter, So the adapter would be needed for installing the 1 terabyte drive.
Correct.
I'm trying to think, maybe I put the damaged one that was from the top computer in there and just left it. But I'm pretty sure it won't be seen by the computer. So it would need a similar adapter. And those adapters are pretty affordable. They're like 20 something bucks.
Nice. That's not bad.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll hold on to that guy. I'm over off on the side. Nobody can see what I'm doing, but I'm pulling out the hard drive from the other one.
And
then
I would say we just put the new hard drive in the adapter and put it in the.
Oh wait,
right.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Yeah, because we're taking that motherboard out.
Yeah, this motherboard's coming out, but this is the old drive.
Yeah, exactly. So you have it all together. You got it.
Yep, just keep it. I'm not even going to put the screw back because it is not the correct screw for that situation. So, all right, so this guy's good. Other things I have to keep in mind while I'm doing this is which back piece goes with this. What do I do? This is going to be a lot of the fun of doing this, is how many times I lose things and forget where I put them.
Yeah. We'll take your time. I have a feeling the original one we were starting with has the bottom probably doesn't look as good.
Yeah, you're absolutely.
I know there was a dent on the one that you're looking at right now. So I think that was also key, right? There was a dent on some side of it.
There is. It doesn't seem to be on the case itself, but we also have our serial numbers too, so we can take a peek at those once we're done.
Yeah, I mean, functionally they're the same, so it doesn't really matter.
Precisely. Although it's nice to keep the right serial with the right. All right, so now that we've done that, just double check here. We don't have any screws that we need to remove in this process from there, so we're good on that front. And then we'll go ahead and take this drive. I will try my best to keep what I'm doing under the camera here so everybody can see, but we're gonna put this in the adapter.
Yeah.
which is very cool. I didn't even know they made these. It's a little tricky. All right, that feels...
I heard it snap in there, so it sounds like it's good.
I will say it doesn't line up real well, but that feels good. So now we'll take this. Yep, that's beautiful. Yep, that works. And so now we have a transplanted hard drive. Awesome. That feels good, looks good. New hard drive. So that's step one out of the way. So it looks like we've got most of the cables, if not all of them, taken care of. Next step is let's get this fan out of here. Put that in a new quadrant. Okay, I'm gonna write down fan. We still have a little guy right here that appears. All right, that one's been removed.
I think there's a little gasket that, like, yep, where your
There
hands
is.
are.
Yep,
Mhm.
there's a little gasket there. It's not even really being held down anymore by that tape. I should have, I might have some double-sided cap top we can use to replace that, but I don't even think it's necessary. It's held in by pressure pretty well. All right, look at that. Fan is out. Also, another discovery just made, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Man, I wish it had been this side that had the damaged port, because it would just be as simple as replacing this. It is a separate board.
Yeah. Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's totally
on that
separate.
side.
Mm-hmm.
But
those ports are on their own.
oh yeah, but the where the display, that's on the other side, which is part of the logic board, so it's not separate.
Good news is that means I don't have to take this out.
Correct.
Yep, I can leave that in
Well,
place.
you will though. Oh no, you won't. I guess you'll just have to take the motherboard out. Yeah, you're right. Logic board out of the other one. Yep.
Yep, I'll just leave that all plugged in properly.
Cool.
And yeah, all we have to do is remove this, so it makes that a little bit easier. That's nice. I like that. Easy's better. All right, so we got that. So the next step is let's remove the screws. I almost wonder too. Yeah, that probably holds that in place. Okay, so the next step is we just need to remove all these screws. So logic board, here we come. Oh man, I wish I could snap a picture of this just to be on the safe side. But you know what? I can mark these just to make sure.
Oh, you can't because you're using your phone to record, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I put everything back the way I found it. Sometimes I don't remember these things. But I think that will make enough of a difference that I'll be able to remember. Cool. So are you enjoying what you're watching so far?
Oh, you mean in Star Trek?
Just watching.
Or
is it soothing?
Yeah. Oh, this is great. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about an earlier conversation about what I was watching. No, this is fantastic. I mean, the only thing that I wish was a little bit different was being able to zoom in and see what you're doing up close, but it's really cool. This is really fun.
That was something, so that first video I posted, I actually shared with a couple of folks, and that was their biggest gripe, was I can't see what's going on that well. And so this, like I was telling you earlier, this is kind of a makeshift space because these are bigger items than what I'll typically be working on. But the space that I have for modding is going to be a lot easier for me to drop the camera in lower so that people will be able to see. So we'll rectify that. That was easy. Got those guys out.
Great.
Just write what we got here. This is number 1, logic board. Do we know what the difference is between a logic board and a motherboard?
Why don't you tell me?
Well, I was asking you. I was going to see if you could look it up. So I know Apple's always referred to their boards as logic boards, and that's a little something I'm not real sure I know the answer to. We can learn something together.
Well, the internet has some interesting information.
Okay. What does the internet say?
The first result I got, thank you AI, was basically what you described, which is that Apple calls it a logic board, but it's essentially a motherboard.
Yeah. And that's just them being hoity-toity.
It's to differentiate the main printed circuit boards from the rest of the boards.
I like calling it a logic board personally. I know a lot of people refer to these as motherboards, but something about a logic board feels very Vulcan.
Nice.
Did I just show my nerdiness? Okay, so it looks as though I believe I have all the screws out now.
Great.
And if my theory is correct, oh, no, I do not. There is one little guy holding down this heat pipe. Haha. This one's going to be tricky because it's under some cabling. But I can get it. Yep, I got it. Ooh, that's going to be a hard one to get back in. Really what it's going to boil down to is getting these cables out of the way. Okay, cables removed. Get the old tweezers out here. Got it. That was surgery. Okay, let's see if we got it. This is the moment.
Seems like something might be still stuck there.
It is a little bit stuck under these cables. That's precisely what's going on. These cables are giving me everywhere to go.
What about on the other side there, where the battery holder is? Like, it seems like on the other side over there, something might be stuck too. No?
You talking about, this is the only place I'm having some resistance, and that was just because it needed to go. That's it. Logic board's out.
Oh, all right.
Look at that.
Pretty small considering, that's really great.
Even for an Intel days, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty impressive how small it is.
It is.
But we've got what, discrete graphics, Intel chip all there in one. Those were pretty small back then. Cool. All right, that guy is out. Let me find a way to set this aside. Yes, that's so awesome. We don't have to take this guy out. I love that. That fella right there gets to stay in. So I'm going to set that one on the floor. And this is our known good logic board. So this is the one we're going to use to put back. While I'm in here, I'm going to do a little cleaning.
You want to mark it somehow as good, you think?
I think I know which one it is. Because I did mark it. Remember, I put little
that's right.
marks there. Yeah. So we're
great.
Good. Yeah, overall, this looks really good. It's in good shape. It's clean. Yeah. Okay. So now Let's set all this aside. Set that little rubber. I want to make space for it up here. Oh, I think I'm gonna find myself needing snack breaks while we're filming.
Okay. Sounds good.
I don't need one right now, but at some point.
Okay.
A snack break would be nice. All right, and this also belongs to this. This is the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi card.
Yes.
That goes in these. They're so tiny. All right, so now what we want to do is we're going to take this feller and we'll start I don't know if it would be more difficult, if I would be creating more problem for myself by leaving the battery.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I think taking the battery out was like
We want to swap
later.
it, right?
Well, remember we just took it out of the working motherboard, which had a poor battery though. Remember?
This was
So
the
the
one that's
battery-
bad, right? The one we just
Yeah,
took out of the
the
previous
system
one.
we just worked on had the good logic board, but had a poor battery. And so I think we can keep the battery that we have in this other second one
Okay, so we'll leave this one in
because,
here.
yeah.
That's great.
So I think we don't need to worry. We want to disconnect the battery though. I would do that before you do any other work.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to disconnect everything, right? We want
Yes.
to take this
Yeah.
guy out. So
And then the next suggestion after that is to go over by the fan and the IO board cable, which is near the USB port on the fan by the fan. I suggest doing that one.
we will get all of these cables out, just like we did with the other one. All of them look great. I almost wonder if these are the same chipsets.
They could be.
They look identical. I'm just curious. That's personal curiosity.
Yeah, the part numbers would probably be the way to tell.
Yep. They're a little too small for me to see at this point.
No, I get it. So yeah, there's a connector over by the fan, just where you were. I think there's a connector.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there. I'm going to move
Okay.
across the board from right to left. And then this little guy. Tricky. This is where tweezers come in quite handy. Come on, buddy. There we go. Memory serves me. We flip this guy up. Yep. This one's tricky because it's pretty big. There we go. Got that one out. And then these guys. There's a whole bunch of them back here. The real good news is as we go through this board, both boards look to be in really good shape. So aside from you just having that display port issue, they're not bad shape.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that everything else works really well, given that there was clearly some sort of moisture on that board.
It actually, when I inspected it, it looks burnt out. There was a burn inside it. So that was part of the reason I was like,
something got plugged in that shouldn't have been plugged in.
Yeah, or some debris got in there. And when it was plugged in, it totally took it out. And that happens sometimes.
Yeah. So I think is there another connector that's over right below right where your hand is?
There's one more right here. One little feller. You got that one.
And then what about where your left hand is? Where your thumb is there? Is there something?
This guy, because it's attached to this, we can leave it on.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. We don't have to mess with that. We'll leave that one.
I think iFixit's recommending taking that cable out.
Yeah, it could be taken out.
And then disconnecting the fan, which I think you may have done.
Yeah, this didn't need to be removed, but
Okay.
I like to remove as little as possible so I don't mix things up.
Gotcha. And then you've got the 3 screws around the fan.
Yep, those are coming out right now. Those right there. All right, those fan screws are out, so this fan should just come on out. Oh, this one actually is sealed pretty well. That was staying on. All right, so I want to put the original fan. I'm just going to set this one completely aside because I want to put the other fan back in here. With this.
Oh, the one that you're gonna put in from the other machine.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you're thinking. Okay. So
yeah,
even
move all the
fans
original
might
parts.
be the same, you might as well just keep the parts.
Yep. Yep. Try to keep
apples, no pun intended. Yeah.
Yeah. You got it. You got it. Yeah. Always try to keep as many of the OG parts and pieces together as possible, and reduces the potential for things to fail and not work properly. I also missed a cable over here.
Ah.
Easy peasy. Okay, that's that going. We are making progress. This is going to be so awesome. If this boots up and works for you, I'm excited. Notice how I use the words if.
Right?
You're like, uh-oh. Am I in trouble?
Well, the good news is other than buying the adapter and buying the SSD, I didn't spend in shipping.
You weren't out a whole bunch.
No.
And you could always find another use for some of those things too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, I'm trying to detect to make sure I don't see, I feel as though I'm missing a screw. The screw pattern's different. Why is it different?
You didn't take out the battery. So there's screws for the battery. That's one. Is there a screw kind of right towards the middle of the back? Or am I just seeing something funny? To your left. Yeah,
there's this guy here.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. What about towards the middle, right? Like right above where the SSD is, all the way to the back, you see where the SSD, the first chip on the SSD is? Take your finger and run all the way to the back. Keep going back towards you. Towards you. Right there. What's that?
That one's removed.
Okay.
In fact, this is the screw that's missing. It's the one holding down the heat pipe.
Ah, that was one of the ones we did earlier. I say we as though I did something.
You did. You're hanging out.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm sure anybody that might be watching this at some point in the near future, they're probably wondering what the heck we're trying to do in terms of why is this guy taking apart stuff and then recording it and putting it on YouTube. And so the idea here is at some point, I've done one mod video, so I've got that very first mod video up, and it's not anything spectacular, but it's kind of a how-to. And the goal is to, at some point, to start modding pretty frequently. I've got lots of mods. How many mods we got? We got probably about 20 Game Boy Advances. We've got probably about Nintendo and Xbox. We've got a couple other things. So at some point, that's the goal, is to be able to mod all these in real time. Chit chat while we're doing it, like we're doing today. And yeah, have some fun while we're doing it. All right, what do you think? Looks like this is coming out. Bada bing.
Nice.
There we go. Logic board number 2. Looking good.
Love it.
All right, so I'm gonna take it away for a second and look at it. Yeah, I can see damage on the display port. It's pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
It's much easier to see. So there's pins on the top that are totally corroded and gone. And then there's some pins on the bottom that are also just completely gone. So
yeah, I was able to get it to work for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like
it never worked again.
Yeah, it looks like there's some debris that got in there. You might want to check your display cable that you used and make sure that it's not damaged too at this point, because it's pretty significant. It's a burn. So It looks like there was some debris in there that potentially could have started a fire almost. Wow, that's pretty bad in there. I wish I could show it. I don't know if we can see. You're not going to be able to see it that well, but you can see that burn mark, can't you?
Yeah.
See where it's black?
Hold steady for a second.
I'm trying my darndest.
Okay. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can definitely see some burn towards the bottom there.
It's pretty bad. So that was the culprit. All right, so we've got this guy out. Now I'm going to set that aside. And
yeah, I bought the Thunderbolt display connector adapter, and it was a little expensive to do, but I will double check those pins and make sure they look good.
Get as much dust out of this as possible. Can you hear that vacuum coming through on the mic?
No, it just sounded like your mic was a little muffled.
Oh,
from
that's
my
cool.
end, I didn't hear anything.
Awesome. All right, just cleaning some things up. Yep, there may have been some liquid damage. I see signs here in this corner, and it's real dusty. So we'll clean this out a little bit. Tell you what I need is a cotton swab and some cleaners.
IPA?
Yep, sort of. I'll show you what I use. A lot of people recommend IPA, but I am in love with some WD-40 Specialist Contact Cleaner. That is the thing that does it for me.
Nice.
So I'll show it in frame in just a second. Grab it. Sit back down. You can see it in the can right there. This is the good stuff.
Nice.
Spray a little bit on this cotton swab. And what I'm doing is not quintessential, right? I'm just getting it clean. But this isn't going to have any impact on putting this motherboard back in here or anything. It's just clean. It's better that way. Trying to make it as close to new as possible. Yeah, but I mean, overall, I'm really impressed with how clean this is. I'll tell you what, back in the day when I did repairs, some people would bring in machines that were unbelievable. They would be so covered in dust and muck. Had this one gal that would always bring in a machine. She did her makeup in her computer and used the webcam to be able to see.
Oh, so all like the powder from her.
Oh my gosh. And her machine would overheat, and she'd bring it in, and I'd take it apart, and I'd show her, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't know what you're doing. It seems to me like you might be doing some makeup in that camera. Oh yeah, I'll be doing some makeup in that camera. And it was bad.
You wanted to just be like, here's $20, just use a mirror, you know?
Yeah. Amazon, my friend.
Because I could see like doing lipstick where there's probably next to no residue, but if you've got any
Right.
kind of powder that you're doing, yeah, it's all going to go down in there.
Yeah. It's your computer, man. It costs what? $2,000, $3,000. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you want to be doing that. And she would still do it. I saw her on a regular basis. And I was like, okay, you're killing me, Smalls. Like, come on. I really want to get this nice and clean. You know I'm anal, right?
Hey, no, it's a good. You're very particular about one. Make sure it looks good, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. You know,
This
Steve
was
Jobs.
supposedly went through a whole refurbishment process, but
It looks great.
clearly they didn't go this far. Um,
They may have. It just probably collected. I mean, these
Yeah.
things are not dust-free environments.
no,
Get some of the dust off my pad here. People are probably going to give me some BS about how long I'm taking cleaning up around everything. But trust.
Well,
it's
you're not
worth it.
applying thermal paste, so I don't think you're going to get in too much trouble.
Nah. All right, this looks gorgeous. I think we're ready to move on to the next step, which is to transplant the logic board. So we're going to bring this guy back in.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the tricky part, was getting it underneath here. And I think I got it on the first try. Let's see. Yep. That's going to drop right into place.
Nice. It looks like it's putting a little bit of pressure on that connector above the battery that's on your right.
This
Yeah,
guy?
it looks like that. Yeah, it looks like
This
that
needs to
might-
come up, as do
Yep.
these. This is the hard part, as we drop this down in there, is keeping these above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is going to be really difficult. But I think
Big
once
time.
I get them up there, they should stay. All right, got those guys up. This one's above it. These,
What about on the other side where the other middle battery is? It looks like something's about to get squished.
something's
Two.
wrong. There's a
Right
whole bunch
there.
of stuff over here. Yeah, I gotta come
Yeah.
to this after I get the stuff on that side above it. And
Because it looks like it's about to get lost if you push the motherboard down any further. Looks like there's a gold connector that might get lost.
Yep, you're correct. This guy right here.
I'm actually zoomed in to 200% on our.
Oh, are you? Were you
Yeah.
able to zoom it in?
Yeah.
All right, so there's some things about this that doesn't quite feel. Oh, you know what? There's a whole connector that I completely lost here. Yep, there we go. So that ought to help let it drop down now. Okay, now I'm down in there.
Something. Yep, right there.
Yeah,
Yep,
these
you
two
got it.
guys have to come back out again. They're tough.
You need a third hand.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? I actually
Well-
have what's called third hands for soldering, but they don't come in real handy for this.
Oh, that one fell back down again.
It sure did. I saw it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and get this a little bit lower so that when this pops up, it's less likely to. Ah, this one's some. There we go. All right, this all looks good. Let's come back to this side now. This is definitely gotta come back up. I think that's it. I think I got it.
It looks a lot better. I've been watching a lot of Terminator 2 lately.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it.
And well, there's a scene, there's a lot of really great scenes, but do you remember the scene where the T-1000's in the helicopter?
Vaguely. It's
Okay.
been a hot minute since I've watched any of the Terminators.
So there's a really spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen a movie from 1991.
Oh, don't go spoiling them.
There's a really great scene where it's either now I'm trying to think about it, it's either the helicopter or the semi. I can't actually remember now which one it is, but I think it's the helicopter where he's flying this helicopter chasing after the main characters.
Yeah.
And he reloads his weapon and he with one hand and shoots with the other, which begs the question, how is he maneuvering the vehicle?
Oh, he was just freeballing it.
He's made of liquid metal, so he made a third hand.
Yeah, okay.
Because
That makes
you could
sense.
do that if you're made of liquid metal. You could just make the other appendage that you need.
Love that.
So anyway. You don't see it on camera, but
Right.
it's such a high intense action scene that you don't think about. Wait a minute, how is he loading the gun and shooting it? Holding
Yeah,
it
at the
with one
same
hand.
time.
Yeah, doing it just doesn't make sense.
We'll have to go back and rewatch that. Okay, we are looking pretty good over here. I think what I'm going to do now, because we have everything looks to be lined up pretty good. Make sure these, yep, those look good. Let's go ahead and drop a screw or two down in here, just to make sure that it's not going to move around too much on us. So what's the most recent Terminator movie you've watched?
I think I've seen them all at this point.
But I mean, what was the one you watched most recently?
Oh, most recently was Terminator 2. But
Okay.
In the last 2 weeks, I watched Terminator Dark Fate. But before that, I watched Terminator Genesis.
Nice.
And they have their strengths and weaknesses. And
oh, for sure.
I will tell you what did the best for me was the TV show that went from Terminator 2, skipped over Terminator 3, and then did its own narrative. But that was back in 2008.
Is that the one that had the gal that was in Firefly?
Yes, Summer Glau.
Yep,
She
I
was
remember
in
that one.
It was 2 seasons long, but there was a writer's strike in between 2008 and 2009. So when they came back for the second season, it still ended very, very well. But there were some weaker episodes where you could tell the writing just didn't come together the same way as it did in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, 2 of the writers on that show wrote the first Thor movie.
Oh, interesting. I feel like I knew that for some reason.
Okay.
Who was it?
I can't think of their names, but they've always written together. They wrote a bunch of what is the name of that show now? I'm blanking on the name, but they wrote a bunch of TV episodes of a much earlier show that is escaping my mind. I'll have to look it up.
Look it up. Trivia time. All right, so the board is now back in place. I haven't secured it intentionally. All I did was put those back in loosely so they can still rock around. So now we have to get all of these cables back in, which, by the way, is going to be a real good time. Right.
Ashley Edward Miller and Zach Stintz.
I don't recognize either of those names.
So Zach Stintz was on a podcast about Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, the TV show.
Okay.
And I was actually on that podcast. This was forever ago. I'm sure it's not even available on the internet anymore. But I was a guest star on that podcast. And
what?
Yeah, Zach was
didn't know this.
Yeah, Zach was a great person to hear share about some of the insights in the show, in the story, and in the show. And as a matter of fact, it's a trivial character in terms of the overall ethos of the show, but in one of the episodes, there's a character who is named after one of the biggest fans in that effort in the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles fandom, and they named it after this one character, this one person who was a tremendous contributor to the fandom. And awesome. Why do I bring that up?
Because it's you?
No, it was not me.
Oh, okay.
It was not me. It was a lady named, I believe, Roxy was her name.
Okay.
But did you know in Star Trek, the first episode of The Next Generation, it was co-written by one of the biggest Star Trek fans.
No way.
Yeah. They
know
co-wrote
that.
it with Gene Roddenberry, and they had been very instrumental in making sure that the original series got its due in the public eye. So
no way.
Yeah.
That is some very cool trivia.
Yeah.
Love it.
Now I've got to look up these two authors because I can't think of the TV show that they wrote for
Yeah,
besides
that's what
this
I want to
kind of
know.
articles. Yeah.
All right, let's see here. So I'm going to get this little guy to kind of butt up in here as far as I can without coming loose, and drop that. Yep, got that clipped back in there. We are making really good progress here. This is coming along nicely.
Do you remember the movie Agent Cody Banks?
Yeah, I think so. Is what's his name? Muniz?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I
Frankie
do.
Muniz. Yeah.
Frankie
So,
Muniz, yep.
so they wrote that movie,
Very cool.
and they worked on Fringe.
Fringe was a good series for anybody who likes X-Files. There's a fella who's rewatching X-Files on the Mac Break Weekly show. Is it Alex? Alex might be rewatching X-Files. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I was reading, so I apologize. I lost a little bit of your audio. Tell me again.
Alex on Mac Break Weekly.
Yes, Alex Lindsay.
Yeah, Alex Lindsay. I think he's rewatching X-Files right now.
Oh,
Which
nice.
Fringe was kind of like that spiritual predecessor, or spiritual. All right, this is looking pretty good. These cables are sometimes a little bit fickle. They have to get right in there properly. I'm not 100% certain I got that locked in place.
Yeah, that is being finicky. You did a really good job there because that's a lot of effort to get those in.
Yeah, those are tough. Those are tough, but we're good.
And I think you still need to connect the battery, so that's one thing.
Battery's in there.
Oh, it is? Okay, it's sticking up. It was sticking up.
Battery's in there.
And then the fan. Although, do you want to connect the battery last? Just so there's no juice flowing through it while you get the fan in there?
Well, you know, that was a really smart thing to say because that is exactly how I should have done it. The battery should have been the last thing I put in.
Yeah.
I goofed there. So let's, yeah, that was, I wish you had said that a moment sooner.
Well, it's all right. Here we are. Finish off my trivia. You've heard of the movie X-Men First Class?
Yes, I have.
Those two authors, they penned a draft of that movie as well.
That's cool.
And then Andromeda was the TV show that I couldn't remember.
Andromeda, okay.
They had been consultants and story editors on that show.
All right, so we've got the trackpad. The trackpad is, I really don't feel like this is going in all the way. It's kind of buggy.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Take your time.
It's in there. It's in there. It just doesn't want to clasp 100%. That is not seating quite as well as I'd like it to, but we can Kapton tape that, so that's fine. Let's move on to putting the fan back in.
Don't forget the little, what is that called? Can't think of the word for it. Let me find it here.
Drawn a blank is what it's called.
Yeah, it's the fan cover that's kind of closest to you, and I can't think of the exact word for it.
All right, that's in properly. Just want to make sure this cable goes down so it's out of the way. And now we can use the fan battery.
The rubber gasket, that's what I was thinking of.
The rubber gasket. I'm glad you came. I'm late to the game on that one. I needed to put that on before we seated this logic board.
Also,
Crappers.
I just realized too, didn't we take that piece out that was below the fan?
Take the piece out that's below the
There's
fan.
like a piece that no, we didn't take that out. Hold on a second.
I'm gonna see if I can stuff this in there. I don't think I can. Oh, yeah, I might be able to.
That's the piece I'm thinking of right there that you're holding.
The gasket.
Yeah.
This gasket will allow me to stuff it. So that's what we're going to do here, because that's a lot of effort to go back through and try to remove this logic board. Just get that gasket back in.
Speaking of stuff, when's the last time you used that application?
Stuff it? It's been a long time. That is not even around anymore, is it?
It's still around.
Is it really?
It is still around. It's been bought by another company.
Has it?
Hmm?
Yeah, that's been... Look at that. Got her in there.
All right. Yep, stuffit.com. Still there. 30 years of file compression.
Holy cow. That is... When you said that, I thought you were trying to make a joke. And then it dawned on me, yeah, that's a real app that used to exist back in the day that was our version of 7-zip. Or RAR. WinRAR.
Mm-hmm. You can even get an iOS version of it now.
Huh. That's crazy. Beautiful. All right, we are back in business. We don't have to do any logic board lifting.
Great.
Yeah, very great. Didn't want
And you got the Bluetooth module in, I think, right?
What's that?
The Bluetooth module's back in there?
That's in there. Yep.
Okay, great.
And connected.
Sorry. Yeah, I interrupted what you were doing with the fan, so just
No,
wanted to
good.
double check.
You are good. We are fastening the fan back down. That's what we're going to do. All right. So with a repair like this, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? All we did was lift a logic board up and out, undid some screws, and then drop the other one back in. Probably not a whole lot to really describe, right? It all made pretty good sense. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of getting all those tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces disconnected and reconnected. And as we saw earlier, you spent a very delicate amount of effort in making sure that none of those wires were pressed under the logic board as you were putting it back. And we talked about not connecting the battery until the end.
Yes.
And would you like to explain to your audience why that is important?
Yeah. So when we pull the logic board together, connecting the battery has the potential to short out the board, right? Which I'm really hoping I didn't do. I did not see anything that alarmed me, so I think we're in good shape. But yeah, if you throw power to it, it could try to boot up. There is a chance that you could potentially short the board. I'm also wearing an anti-static strap, so that helps reduce the risk of damaging the board during this process. But yeah, always a good idea to do the battery dead last. And it's been some time since I've done this, so I feel like I'm learning again for the second time. It's been years. Probably a decade, in fact, since I've last repaired laptops.
I feel like there's a song title in there somewhere.
Yeah. Let's find a jam that meets that requirement. I wonder if I should... I'm going to do this one first.
You wanted to get some Kapton tape, I think, to that part that was not sticking
right
down.
here. Yep. I've got a little bit right behind me. I'll grab in just a moment. Once we get these two guys in here. I think we are solid. Just need to drop this little flap. All right, so now I'm going to double check myself. We've got the battery that was in here already. That's staying. This was the battery that you determined was better than the other one. So that's good stuff right there. Yep. We now have the logic board from the other laptop that has the good display port. We have an upgraded hard drive right here. We used a what was that? What did we use here for this?
Samsung, we use an adapter
We use an
because
adapter.
Apple uses a proprietary connector for that. So we used the aftermarket adapter with a Samsung Evo 960, I believe,
Okay.
1 terabyte SSD that I believe has never been used. So
Yeah, it
it
was brand
needs
new
an
in
OS
package.
on it. Yeah.
So very good
And
there.
then we just put the fan back in and all the connectors and cables that go with it.
Yep.
The other thing to consider is because it has been some time since we talked about at the beginning of the video, since I shipped this out and shared it with you.
Right.
Don't know the condition of the battery because it's been sitting in that same state. I don't remember if I discharged it well enough before mailing it to you, if it was fully charged. Because if you have it sit for many, many months, you're supposed to discharge it to about 50% and then store it. So there's a potential that even though it will charge up to 100%, that the battery life is impacted by it sitting for as long as it did.
Yep.
But I just don't remember.
We will see, hopefully. All right. So with that being said, I have now secured all the screws for the logic board. Logic board's in there nice and tight. Just do one more round here, make sure everything looks good. That guy's in, that guy, these guys are in. This is looking pretty solid. Can't really see these underneath anymore, but I feel confident those are in. That's in. Everything looks good. So I think...
Was there a screw? Sorry, was there a screw for the SSD that needed to go in, or is that in there?
It's in there. Yep.
Okay.
That guy right there.
Just hard to see. Okay.
And then there's a screw for this guy.
The Bluetooth module and the Wi-Fi module.
That's been replaced. So ultimately, everything looks pretty good. This could probably do a little bit better, but oh, I might actually be able to get that in there. Oh, I did it. Yep, that's much better. Okay, that's the secure fit. And push that back a little bit. Beautiful. So, push that down. Yeah, I think we are ready to do some testing. This might be good to go. So let's see, if I'm not mistaken, this is the bottom because it looked kind of cruddy, if memory serves me. Ah, Kapton tape. That, I knew there was one more thing I wanted to do before we moved on. Grab a little piece of that. Just go ahead and throw a little piece of Kapton tape on this. Beautiful. All right, so let's slap the bottom back on. We'll flip it over and let's see what we got. Let's see if this Frankenstein works.
Do you want it? Yeah, just turn it on without having to worry about the screws. Just
Absolutely.
In case.
Yeah, never want to backtrack if we don't have to. All right, fingers crossed. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm not hearing or seeing anything.
Okay. Well, not a great sign.
Not a great sign, but not the worst. Let's try attaching power to it. Because sometimes when you've taken these apart, they will stay in a state where they won't boot up until they've had power attached to them. So let's plug that in. Give me just a second here. All right, here we go. The good news is the battery indicator, the charging indicator is green. So it is showing, we have power. It just booted up.
Nice. Nice.
I see something on the screen. Well, the screen's backlit right now. It's not really, I'm not seeing an Apple logo or anything, but we should get a folder icon with a question mark in it or something.
Yeah, since there's nothing on the actual SSD, that's not a surprise that it's not. Well, it should show an Apple logo if it's passing the post
Yep.
power on self test. But if it doesn't do that, then it's not a good sign either.
Yep. Well, we'll give it just a moment here. Something's going on. Yes, we got the question mark.
Okay.
Just for everybody to see.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Look at that. That is a good working logic board right there.
Yeah.
And the fans firing up. We have liftoff. Okay,
great,
so
great.
With that being said, now we just have to install something on the hard drive.
Yeah.
So now here's the question. Haven't done this in a while. What is the keyboard shortcut for the boot sequence to go into recovery mode?
Well, there's a couple options you have there.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think it is?
Control Command R. I really honestly don't remember.
So there are 3 different commands, and it varies on the Intel systems. There's 3 different ones.
Okay.
So Command R will boot up from the built-in recovery system, assuming that the drive in the system has it partitioned. In this case, there's nothing there. Option Command R goes from the recovery over the internet, and then Option Shift Command R starts up over the internet, but I believe it uses the most recent version of the OS, and I could be wrong about that. Let me double check one thing, because Google gave me a different result than I was expecting. So yeah, so Command R uses the built-in recovery system, which in this case won't apply. Option Command R goes over the internet to the latest version that's compatible, and then Option Shift Command R tries to use the original version that's still available on the Mac.
Okay.
So you've got the 3 different ones. So I would say probably Option Shift or Option Command R, either one of those 2 would give you some good news. But you have to connect to the internet with it. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. We can get it connected. We are running into a little bit of trouble here. The keyboard does not seem to be holding down the power button to see if we can get a reboot.
Yeah.
And it is not responding.
So it's possible it's not connected. What about the mouse? Does it move?
Well, there's no cursor on the screen at this point. So
okay, so maybe that connector is loose.
Yep, that connector could be loose or not inserted properly. So we might have one.
So you might want to force it to power down.
Yeah, we'd love to do that. But
well, I'm saying because the key. Yep, you can't do that. No,
can't do that.
Makes sense. So you have to disconnect the battery connector then, right? Because then it'll kill the power.
That is exactly what we
Fun.
do. Good times. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a small price to pay. All right, battery connector disconnected. Groovy. I mean, hey, we got this thing to boot up, so that was a good start. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the keyboard is connected to the trackpad.
Yeah, it's the little one.
It's this one right here, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure that's our guy.
There is a, yeah, it's
Tell me
hard
what you
to
see.
Well, I think I'm seeing the opposite side. So,
yep. Keep in mind, my camera I think is reverse.
Right. So I think so. It's like if you're like in the middle of where the SSD is, and you go up towards the battery, and you travel up that way, there's a little gold connector.
So that means the battery has to come out.
Well, let's see here. Where's that SSD? Yeah. I really wish you could look at your phone. Let me see something here. Maybe I can put it in the chat. That did not work. 1 second.
Okay.
Try it again.
I'm pretty sure it's this little guy, and this was the one I was having trouble getting the flat to go down on.
I think you're right. Let me see if I can copy image and put it into the chat. Oh, it just gives me the URL. Really? Come on.
I see it, but let me see if I can access that.
If not, I can.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at.
Yeah, you
So,
got it. Okay.
yeah, that is
Yeah,
good
it
to
just
go.
it warns about being careful not to pull up you gotta do the flap and not prying
Yeah,
up the actual hinge.
it is not seated in there all the way, so that is
Okay.
part of the problem.
Okay.
That was the concern I had, and that was why we put the captain tape on it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe.
Okay. Because they do put a big warning there. Just the prying up the hinge retaining flap and not the socket. Otherwise, you'll rip it out, I think.
This might require me to remove the battery because
Okay.
it really is a need to get that seated.
Okay.
So let's do it.
Cool.
So one little extra step. Thankfully, these batteries are not treacherous. Had these been the batteries that were glued in, I would be irate. But they are
Yeah.
not.
I've never worked on those, but I did have a 2015 MacBook Pro. By the way, my favorite Apple keyboard that
Yep,
I've ever used.
those were good.
I will say the second generation iPad Pro keyboard, not the most current. I think that's like the third generation ones when they came out with the white the white style MacBook Pro keyboard. I don't know if Apple considers it to be a generation different from the pure black one, but anyway, that was a close second on the keyboard in my opinion. But I had that one repaired at an Apple store in the 2015, and they had to take the entire keyboard out because it was attached to the battery. Yeah.
Yeah, that's no fun. There we go. Battery is out. Just clean it off a little tiny bit and set it aside. All right, now I should be able to finagle this in here a little bit better. Yeah, this is much easier.
Good.
Make sure that flap is up. I also didn't get a good click down off of that cedar there. What am I doing? Am I making up names for this? For that flap? My guess is this is going to be the fix for the keyboard. Yeah, that's seating in there much better now.
It does make me wonder about the sound not coming through. I wonder if the speaker maybe didn't get reconnected.
The sound.
Remember when we turned
this
it on?
We
did
the speaker right here. Just a
yeah,
and so is this. Those are both seated properly.
Okay, but the connectors are all secure. You think? Because I remember earlier you weren't sure about it.
Yeah.
You thought they were just because we didn't get the boot chime.
Yeah, I didn't hear that, but I think that might just have been due to the state of the drive, and or it's the first time it's booted after getting power. So, okay, those feel a lot better.
Okay.
I'm gonna set the battery back in there without reattaching it, and we'll put the bottom back on. Okay. So I believe that all looks good. We'll put the bottom case on and attempt to fire it up this way. Uh-oh, what's that? Huh, got a little piece there that may have come off of the battery casing, but that's okay. All right, let's lift the lid and put some power to it. Yeah, I was a little nervous there. That first run, nothing came on.
Yeah.
All right, that's attached. Oddly enough, it powered up, but I don't know if it was of its own accord or if it's because I pushed the power button. All right, we have power now.
Okay.
What'd you say the command was? It was a control or?
So command option R. will go to recovery with the latest OS.
Perfect.
Command Option Shift R goes to the one that's original with the OS. And I think it goes all the way back to, I want to say even Lion, but I could be wrong about that. That seems like a long time ago.
So we've got power on the screen. I'm holding down
Okay.
Command. Nope, we're getting another flashing folder icon. Let's see if I
So
can hold the power
Option
down.
Command R doesn't seem to be doing it for you.
Oh, we've got power. Okay, I was able to power it off successfully. So the keyboard's back
Oh,
up and running. We're good.
okay.
So let me power it back on and we'll try that
Yeah.
again. That's a real good sign. I think we might be in business. Yep, we are. So I'm getting the globe.
I see it there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see it?
Yep.
So
It's
that
just-
means,
it's probably going to be slow as molasses.
yeah, that's okay. It says it
And-
may take a while.
You might want to take it off camera just so we don't see you type anything.
That is a good idea, and I'm gonna munch on a snack here real quick.
Great.
Oh, this is awesome. It's working pretty good.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you, Will.
I'm gonna
It's
unplug
fantastic.
it from power, and then just like you said, we're gonna step aside here. Gonna choose a network. All right, let's see if we get connectivity to the network. It recognized my network. I believe we are connected. Look at that.
Great.
Yep, it's pulling down the latest OS. This is going well.
Nice.
Plug it back into power. And we'll just
Got
give
another
that...
piece of. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we'll give that a few moments to boot up.
I have
What
another
were you
piece of
gonna say?
trivia for you.
Yeah,
Got another
let's
piece
hear
of
it.
trivia. It's Mac trivia. What OS can you not install through Internet Recovery that you used to be able to install through Internet
Lion?
Recovery?
Is it going to be Lion?
No, Apple used to offer it, and they no longer offer it through Internet Recovery. It's not Lion. But a good question though. It's a little bit more modern than that, but not completely modern.
Huh. Catalina.
No,
No. I don't remember. What is it?
Sierra.
Sierra. Okay.
The reason being that there was a problem with Sierra with the date of the certificate, the SSL certificate on it. And the way to fix that is you have to go into the terminal and you have to change the date back to when Sierra came out. And then the certificate works. But if you have a modern date set on your clock, it will not install.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
I mean, at the time, it was fine until the certificate expired, and then it wasn't.
That's very cool. So I'm going to lean that back a little bit. I like
Great.
that. So that we can kind of see what's going on here. Of course, we've got the globe, and it is definitely downloading. So this is great.
Perfect.
Yep. And then once we get this to load all the way up, damn, we need to clean this screen off, don't we? Because it's dirty.
Alrighty.
We'll do that once we're done. But primary goal here is to format the drive, install the OS. Once that has successfully taken, then I will flip it back over, secure the battery, secure the back of the casing, and then we're done.
Nice.
Yep, I'll
Thank
ship
you,
it back
Will.
to you without a I'm not going to log into it or anything. I'm just going to get it to where it's got the operating system installed just to make sure that works.
Perfect.
Haha, this is cool. This was great. This is muscle memory. This is what I needed to do this for, was so that I could, you know, kind of remember how to do it, and man, I'm really excited this worked as easily as it did. I have run into some serious issues doing this before. So that was pretty good.
I'll tell you if you want, you can always take that other logic board and put it into the other computer and make yourself a functional computer.
I mean, I was planning on shipping both of these back to you, but I'll put it back together. That way you've got 2 functional computers.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be really, really awesome. I'd love that.
I really don't have a need for it, honestly.
Okay. All right. Well, I really do appreciate it. It's something I definitely was not comfortable even thinking of trying. So I appreciate you.
Happy to do it. This is good times for me. I like doing this. It's fun. Hopefully it's informative. I don't know who will get what out of this, but it just goes to show that if you've got a couple of old machines laying around, buying stuff off eBay, it's great. Even if it doesn't work, if you can find something else that's same year, usually works, maybe a year or two. Like we determined what one of these is a
2014.
2014, yep. And the other one's a 2015?
I believe so. I could double check that, but from memory, that's what I see. Now, I did see somebody posted Gizmodo, and this is as of February 21st, so very recent to this recording, that they are selling a MacBook Air 2017 for $230.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, to your point, going on eBay or through, it's actually they sell through Stack Social.
Yeah,
it's $229 for a 2017 13-inch MacBook Air, 1.8 gigahertz, one i5 with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigabyte SSD. So, if you did want to have a bit of go at this, you probably could try something like that for not too an expensive amount.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's nothing better than refurbishing an old device, bringing it back to life, and not sending it to the graveyard. So it looks like we're at the installation screen. Let's select English, and we are now booting macOS recovery, and it's asking me if I want to restore, and I don't. I want to go to utilities. No, it's been a little while since I've done this, so I need disk utility, which is right here.
That's right.
Right in front of me. So the first thing we want to do is format this drive. Make sure, one, that it's showing up. I don't see it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's informative. It's not showing up at all.
It is not.
Huh. Okay, so maybe we need to shut down and make sure it's seated in there?
I feel pretty good about it being seated. But yes, we can take a crack at that. Let's see. I just want to make sure.
Because I promise you, the money I spent on buying that, it's long since returnable at Amazon at this point.
Well, I mean, at the very least, we can pop that other drive in here. And if that one shows up.
Well, I think that one's dead.
Oh, totally dead. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought for sure it booted. What I really want to see.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
Startup disk, restart, shut down. We don't want to do that because boy, did that take a while.
Yeah, if it's not showing up in the disk utility, then
it's not going to show up anywhere else. Every time I've had that issue, it's usually something's just not connected quite right. Yeah,
but we did transplant it. So the other option would be to take that SSD out of that machine if reseating it doesn't work and put it into the other one, but you have to reassemble the entire motherboard again, which wouldn't be fun. Yeah, exactly. Just because you don't have an enclosure for that SSD. There's no other computer you probably have around where you could plug it in and try it out, because that would be the other option, is to have an external enclosure, remove the adapter, and use a standard enclosure and plug it in over USB or whatever the case may be.
Sure, I have one. All right, we just powered it off.
Okay.
So I'm going to unplug it. Let's just go ahead and do our due diligence here. make sure that that is seated properly.
It's also the
Especially,
connector too. Might just me not be all the way in the connector. Although I heard it connect. I heard it like. Go ahead.
I was just going to point out, first thing we're going to do is take that battery cable off, right? So that we'll make sure that battery cable is disconnected before we do anything. All right. Yeah, I mean, I've never used one of these before, so I'm not real sure what the reliability is. You know what I am going to do, though? Just for the heck of it, I am going to pop this other drive in here because I just want to see if something shows up, even if it doesn't work. I also want to double... Oh, I see where that piece of plastic came from. Looks like right there. It's actually broken on both sides.
Okay.
Yep, got a little bit, but it's not gonna cause any trouble because it can still be screwed down there. So just an FYI, the battery was a little old.
Yeah, it's probably 10 years old, so not surprised.
That's one thing you want to do when you're working on these older guys is just remember to be gentle. And I tried to be as gentle as I could, but unfortunately. All right, so this is the other hard drive SSD that we pulled out. Just gonna make sure that it's in there. I'm not going to, yeah, I'll go ahead and put the screw back in here, why not? I don't lose track of it. All right.
Now my memory is really fuzzy because I'm sitting here looking at a SSD that's in a static bag, anti-static bag, and I don't remember if this was the one that
You meant to send me?
No, that it's died. Like I just don't remember. Again, it's just been so long. No, I meant to send you the Samsung one for sure.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what's in this one, and I have no way of verifying it. So, or do I?
Nope. It would help if I put this on the right direction.
Hey, that's one way.
Yep. All right. That is secure enough to flip it back over. Let's go ahead and open the top. Just a little bit challenging with that bottom being loose. Let's give it some power. Wonder how big this video file is going to end up being.
You may have to split it.
May.
Because you're at 2 hours now.
Oh, we've been doing this for 2 hours? Holy cow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at that. That came right back up to recovery mode. No problem. I don't think you can see it, but there it is. All right, we're going to pull it aside here.
It may remember what you put in there last time.
It doesn't appear to be. It remembers the network for sure, but not the password.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
All right, we are connected, and it is pulling the recovery back down. We'll plug it back in. All right, let's see what we get here. So this is a known bad hard drive, but I'm just curious to see if it'll show up. If it shows up.
I'm pretty sure that's the case because I'm looking at another SSD here, and it's possible. Let me think through this. So I had one computer that was older that had a keyboard that wasn't great, but had the good logic board. And then I had another computer, but in its SSD was originally bad. And then I had another computer with a bad video connector, but with a good SSD. Maybe that's what we've got there. And I think what I have over here is just the bad SSD. So I wouldn't be surprised if it actually works.
If it shows up and we can install an operating system, we know the machine's in good shape.
Yeah.
And it may just be that connector is
It
not
could
the
be.
right.
It could
connector.
be. I want to maybe try one more time to reseat it just
Absolutely.
to be sure.
Yeah, we can take a crack at it.
You know, what's another 2 hours? I'm just
while we're sitting here waiting for this, I'm just going to pull it back out and make sure I have it seated in there properly, or at least in the best way possible. Yeah, and comparing it to the other drive, it looks like it might be missing some pads there, but I'm not 100% certain. But let's just make sure we get this down in there.
Yeah, it's possible the adapter, I mean, the reviews I read on Amazon said it worked with that model. So that's why I picked it, but it's possible the adapter doesn't work. I'm really bummed out if the actual SSD doesn't work, because that was
that SSD is probably good. I'm guessing it may just be the adapter, but we'll see. We'll try it again. Yeah, I've got it seated in there pretty comfortably. So
I don't feel too much worry about if you were to ship me back this computer, if this, assuming the SSD in here works.
Yeah, as long as it works, right?
Get a different adapter and try it out.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my thought too. If we can get this thing to install, really all I want to see is if we see the SSD show up.
Yeah.
As long as we can see that, then we'll know for sure.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
This feels like it's moving along a little bit faster too.
Oh,
those network upgrades, boy, they have come in clutch.
Yeah.
So that was that was the biggest problem I was having. So the first stream I did stream it directly to Twitch, and did not use OBS. So I was just using the Twitch app directly on my iPhone, and the connectivity, I was getting like 9 up, if that, maybe 8, and upgraded my service. So now I've got 40 up. So I think the quality should improve quite significantly. Now, granted, we're recording this directly to disk right now, just as kind of a dry run, test out some of these props and some of the equipment, and so far so good. I can't wait to watch this and see the quality, and hopefully all the audio comes through. I've got the music playing in the background, which I know you can't hear. We're also screen sharing, so you can watch what I'm doing in real time. So I don't know if that will impact the quality, but I think once we start streaming live, you'll be able to watch it in real time, and should pretty much push straight up pretty fast. So exciting stuff. So the next mod I think I'm talking about doing, I'm going to try to get my buddy Alex, because I'm going to do it for him. It's for his birthday, to come over and hang out. I've got an extra mic for him, so we'll mic him up and then tap you. It could be a random weeknight, so just
most of my weeknights are open. Yeah, I think it's the best after 6. I'm pretty good most nights. So
cool.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is I'll pipe you in. He can be in the room with me watching, and we'll do his Game Boy Advance mod. In fact, I've got it right here. Wait till you see this thing. It's wearing a bra. I've never seen it.
Okay.
And in fact, one of the things I wanted to do for him was give him a new case. I've got a bunch of cases to look at. So here's his Game Boy Advance. Yeah,
Incredibles. Oh, okay.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before. So it's wearing this Incredibles bra. But it is in pristine shape, and I almost feel as though it would be sacrilege, because
he has a screen protector on it. Some kind of Yeah.
It's got a screen protector.
Yeah. It almost doesn't need a mod. To be honest,
it almost doesn't. But so what I want to do for him, I'm gonna let him decide if he wants to put a new case on it or not, because I've got some of the see-through cases, and we can put some fun stuff on it. But I want to do, at the very least, a USB-C mod for him, and then do a screen swap, so he gets a full backlight.
A better backlight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
screen. Ultimately, those are the only two things that I feel like we need to do, but it's up to him
Mm-hmm.
how far he wants to go. I've got a lot of other things that we can do for it. Buttons still feel pretty solid. It's in
Nice.
great shape, and let's see what game he left in here. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Wow.
That was a killer title.
I was going to ask you what game we were going to demo it booting to. So I think we
Well,
know.
yeah, we
Yeah.
might use that. I'm going to take it out of this case. We are still waiting for this Mac to boot up, just FYI. So while we're waiting, yeah, this thing is clean. It's got some scratches back here, but look, it's
It
got
means
the
it's had some
OG.
use. It's been used as a gaming console. That's what
Yeah,
it's supposed to be, right?
I think I'm just gonna clean up the case a little bit for him and leave it at that because this thing
Nice.
is gorgeous. This is my
Yeah.
favorite color too. I love
Is
this
it?
color. Yeah, this blue color. It's so good looking.
I only owned the gray one. Actually, I think mailed it to you in that
Yeah,
box.
the silver one you sent me.
Silver,
Yep, I've
yeah.
got that. And we're gonna make that one yellow with black buttons. I think is what
Mm-hmm.
we talked about. Yeah,
We
this thing
did. I just need to order the parts and get them over to you. But yeah, that one looks great. It
it's
really
in
does.
really solid shape. I think it would be sacrilege to. I did tell him that if for some reason he decides to get another case, I can hold on to this one and then we can transplant it onto another one for somebody else.
Yeah.
Because
There you go.
beautiful.
It looks great.
Oh my gosh. All right, so machine's booted up.
Okay.
Let's see what we get here. I'm going to try and push that back enough so everybody can see it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're gonna do it in English? Come on, you could have picked different language. Make it a
yeah, I
little
should have went
challenging.
Japanese. Konnichiwa.
There you go.
All right, here we go. This is the moment. Are we going to get a drive? We did not. There's no drive showing up.
Huh. Okay, well then that must be either that one's dead or something's funky with that connector now, right?
Potentially. So let me do a PRAM reset on this. We'll take this through one more time because it's possible it's just choking on some old information as it boots up. All right, so it's powered completely down. Gosh, it's been a while since I've done a PRAM reset.
Do you remember the keys?
I think so. I think it's Option, Command, P, and R.
That's right. Although you gotta hit power.
I did.
Okay.
Yep, it's coming on.
Okay. I usually let it do it like 3 times.
Same. Yep, I always give it a couple of flushes. There, we got sound that time.
You did, because we haven't had any.
This was probably needed. So it's rebooted too. I'm gonna do it one more time just for fun.
Do you remember when Apple used to ship computers with built-in optical drives? Do you remember how to eject the disk before the OS booted?
Oh gosh. Let's see. No, I don't remember how to do that.
You hold down the mouse, and you might want to take this off screen so we don't see what you're doing here. You hold down the mouse. And do you know why or where that came from?
No, I don't.
Because with the original Macintosh, you had to use a disk to boot. There was no hard drive. You had to use a floppy disk.
That's right.
And in order to eject that at boot time, you held down the mouse.
I recall that. Yeah.
And so they carried that forward all the way through to the point of having optical drives and being able to hold down the mouse when you boot the machine up and eject the disk.
More trivia. I love it. Yeah, that just goes to show how rusty I am. This is bringing back memories.
I just remember weird stuff, dude. It's all good.
I love that. No, that used to be stuff that was front of mind for me for a long time, but ever since I got out of the repair game, I totally let all that stuff go.
Hey, well, you got to focus on other things,
Yep.
Like
but it's coming
agility
back, and you're helping
and stuff like that. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Case for those of you that may or may not know, nobody knows. We haven't told anybody this yet, but both Matthew and I, we had an opportunity to work at Apple for several years. So it's part of the reason we know a few things.
Yep.
And in various roles. So very, very cool. So now we can share some of that insider knowledge that we gained while we were there. But we're not going to talk about certain things, right?
That's right. Yeah, certain things you can't talk about.
No,
not on camera anymore.
They keep an eye on you throughout your entire life. If you ever want to work there again one day, which I seriously doubt I'll ever go back there. I mean, maybe if the opportunity was given, but don't want to rub them the wrong way, right?
No fate but what you make.
We always refer to it. I know while I was working there, we always just called it the fruit stand. Did you guys call it the fruit stand?
I'd never heard that phrase. I think I was too busy working.
We referred to it. We said we work at the fruit stand. And those in the know knew what it meant. And those not in the know didn't have a clue.
Well, did you know that on the Apple II, there was an Apple-made game called Lemonade, where you worked at a lemonade stand?
No, I did not know that. That's perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be darned. I think the only piece of trivia that I recall is that in the original Macintoshes, if you cracked them open, which I have one and I've cracked open to verify myself, is that it had Steve Woz and Steve Jobs' signatures on the inside, and they most certainly do. That's about the only thing I remember. There used to be, man, do you remember back in the day, there were so many Easter eggs, though. There were so many. I don't even recall what Easter eggs there were. There were so many.
Well, there is a really fun website, folklore.org. If you ever want to go there and read some very, very interesting stories about the beginning of the Macintosh and some of the work on the Apple II, there's 123 stories about that. And there's a book of that stuff published as well. But if you want to go read the website, it's great. There's a fantastic set of stories in there. My favorite one is about how they got the Sony floppy drive into the Macintosh. So highly recommend reading that one. It is almost unbelievably true.
That is fun. I'll check that out. I feel like I've read some of those before, but it's been a while.
The title of that one is Quick, Hide in This Closet.
That's a good one. All right, it appears we are back in business here. Let's see what we get. Oh, no, now we have to wait for it to load. It downloaded, now it's loading. Oh, good times with the old recovery mode. They sure did know how to make it go as slow as it possibly could, didn't they?
It's great it existed.
Yeah.
I remember working at a time when you didn't have that option, and you had to build your own CD or USB drive. And, you know, unless you were on Intel, you couldn't do USB. You had to do CD, or you could do network, but usually it'd be a local network if it was a Power PC. But yeah, sure beats using a floppy disk though to install an operating system.
My favorite way to do it was target disk mode, and you know, actually, come to think of it, I don't know if this does not have any type of FireWire.
No, FireWire was more of a pro feature.
No, I was gonna say we could target disk mode it. It might go into target disk mode and connect over USB. I don't recall, but it is a possibility.
I thought target disk mode was only FireWire. Am I wrong?
I think there might have been a couple of years of Intel where it would function as a USB drive. Possibly. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while, like I said. But we've got some options. We can take a crack at it and just hold down the old T button. Fire it up in target disk mode if this doesn't work, and then I can plug it into, I don't know what I can plug it into. The only thing I've got.
I'm looking back at this 2006 MacBook, just MacBook that I've got in my office here, and it does have a FireWire 400 port. So it wasn't just the Pros. It just wasn't the Air that had the
Yeah,
FireWire
the
port.
Air doesn't have it. It's just got 2 USB ports and a display port and an SD card reader. What the heck? That's the other thing we
Yeah,
can do is we can try to boot off this SD card.
yeah. Well, it does have an operating system on it.
Yeah, so that
I
might
I already got that going. So
that might actually be a better alternative to what we're trying to do. Log
well,
into
I don't
that.
know. The speed might be similar.
Yeah,
it's not.
that's true.
It's not fast on that SD card slot.
All right, well, we'll take one more crack at it this way, and then maybe that's the next step.
Yeah,
But hey, we made good moves. This thing's booting. That's a huge.
I'm really thrilled.
Yep, that's a huge sign. You might just have to get yourself a different SD or
Adapter.
yeah, solid state disk of some sort.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
might be
I'd
able
say
to find another cheap MacBook Air that's got 512 gigs in it and just swap that out.
that's true. Although consider that these were both free to me, except for the cost of shipping and the cost of the SSD and adapter. That's all I spent on it.
Boy, this is taking a long time. Something's
Yeah.
not right.
Well, yeah, something is funny there. Let's see. Maybe it'll continue. Or is it frozen?
It seems
you
like
don't-
it might be frozen.
You don't get a cursor.
Nope. Indeed.
Well, do you want to come back in like 5-10 minutes or so and see if it finally finishes? Or
I think what we will try, let's try this SD card. Let's just go
Okay.
ahead and do it. Because that might give us what we want. All right, so we powered off. Let's plug in that SD card. We're gonna hit the old option button as we power on. I'm really curious to see how this goes. Oh, it's trying to go directly into recovery mode. Oh, nope, there we go. Fire away. Let's see how long it takes for this to boot. And let's see, I gotta hunt down that password you gave me. Where did I put that? Right there. Yeah, I got it.
Great. It should be all lowercase.
Cool. Yeah, that fired up pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought that was going to be a lot slower.
Do you want me to take this off screen?
Yeah, sure.
And just like that. I mean, hell, you could run it off the SD. That was rather fast. I'm impressed.
Okay. Maybe it was the install time I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Any luck?
that
Did
is
it
fully
find the
booted.
drive?
All right, well, we got to do disk utility.
Yeah.
Let's get that up first. Yeah, it doesn't see anything.
Okay.
Drives are not mounting. So,
Is it well? It's all part of the logic board, right? When that because it's just reading the SSD. There's no
Nope.
connector for the SSD to the rest of the system.
correct. But like you said, that could be a, let's see. Oh, it's been a while since I've been in the command line too.
Oh boy. Crack those knuckles.
Yeah, right. Okay. It's been a long time since I've been in here.
Now,
We want to go into volumes. S-LAF. No, the only thing it's seeing is that drive, so So yeah, if that's a bad drive, that's a bad drive. So the next step here is let's try and pop that other one in. But at least we know we
Yeah.
can boot up from this
Yeah.
card really easy. That was not bad. All right.
Yeah. Good deal.
Love that. We know
Yeah.
that works now.
It's great to have some options.
All right, one more time. Disconnect the battery. Let's get this drive out of here. That's a shame that drive doesn't work. Well,
Yeah.
actually, we don't know. We don't know what's going on for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
But my assumption is it's probably the drive in that situation. All right. So, yeah. Oh, actually, they do have the same pin set. It's identical.
When you have the adapter, yeah.
But those pads are a lot thinner. So I wonder if maybe just the way I had it seated in there might be the problem. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Really. Oh, that was a good snap that time.
Good deal. And you feel like it's in the adapter pretty well too?
Yeah. I pushed that down in there pretty tight. I couldn't get it to go any further, so
Okay.
we'll just we'll take another crack at it. One never knows. At least we have a faster way to boot this thing up now, so that's great.
Yeah. Well, we got to exercise your internet though, right? So that was a good experiment.
We did. And the good news is that the internet works.
Mm-hmm.
So that means for the most part, the logic board appears to be working. Only thing left to test would be other ports, but if that SD card or that
Yeah. Well, that and Bluetooth would be the other thing, but your Wi-Fi definitely we've tested that.
yeah,
But
if the
just
Wi-Fi is working, Bluetooth probably will be too.
Yeah.
This is not. Oh, you know what would help? Haha.
Oh, can it reconnect the battery?
Yeah, that might do a thing or two.
Yeah. I
Good
forgot about it too.
times. I'm an eager beaver right now. Just let's get it fired up. All right.
Now, did you work on the original MacBook Air ever?
I think so. Yeah, I think
'Cause
that was.
it had a different hard drive. It had like an actual hard drive in there, right?
Yep.
Like a iPod style.
Yep.
Sized one. Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got cooking here. It's firing up. It's looking for a network. We're not concerned about that. We're just gonna boot off of the SD. Yeah, that booted really fast. That was nice. Impressively so. Hell, like I said, you could run it off of this if we can't get the drive working in it.
I was doing it for a while when the thing wasn't working. Yeah. I was just like, hey, let me boot to this.
Feasible. I don't know if you can, if it'll automatically boot to this every time.
I think you can set it as a startup disk.
That'd be great. Assuming I got that password correct. Yeah, and the battery's holding the charge at 100%. Also beautiful. So that's good. I don't have it plugged in right now. Come back. Nope, there's nothing showing up here.
Man, what a bummer.
That is a bummer. But, and it's hard to know. The only other thing I could do is reassemble the other one,
The
right?
other one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then once that's reassembled, put that, put both of them back in there. But start with the one that was originally in there, because maybe there's a compatibility issue.
It could be. What OS is that running? I forgot.
This is Yosemite.
Yeah, I think the issues were back then were with Sierra and High Sierra. I think you had to be on High Sierra or later in order to have that adapter work, at least with like other world computing. That's
that might
with
be.
their, and I think that's not what this one is, but it was, I think based off to similar idea. So, okay, well,
Fiber channel. Yeah, right. All right. Let's see. Firewire graphics, memory, PCI. Let's look at SATA. Yeah, it's not seeing anything
Okay.
in the system information either. Internal keyboard, storage. It's a 30 gig drive that you have in there.
32 gigabyte
Yep.
SD card. Yeah.
Would not give you much room to play, would it?
No, it wouldn't. But it was enough to boot the OS.
That's what mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the
it's
thing is, it's a
not.
mic. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it is not seeing anything else.
Okay. Well, hey, we got 9/10 of the way there, so
We did.
I'm pretty happy.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Thank you.
solid. Yeah, if you can figure out a hard drive solution, whether it's what we're doing right now, uh, yeah, this could take off.
Nice.
That's a real bummer. I really want that to work. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you find the time to be able to assemble the other one, um, and able to check out those two SSDs and see if one of them works, that would be fantastic.
yep. Well,
The other option is I buy an external SSD
and go
holder.
from that.
Yeah, and I did buy one for really cheap, but then I got it for the wrong year because Apple changed the connector types on how those connect, and so I couldn't use it. But it was like $10 or something. I kind of a lost cause with the money, but not that bad. I just ordered the wrong year.
We're doing back to back music. It's the same song.
Okay.
I just had to restart the playlist.
So I think, yeah, okay, just take that one out. Yeah, that makes sense. And then just,
one more time, just for good measure, right?
okay.
We can now boot pretty fast, so it's not like it's a huge headache to try, but
Sure.
I just want to inspect everything. It would be so nice if we could get this to fire up and
Let
see
me
a
let me do
drive.
something. Let me just check something because I would feel really silly if I got this wrong. Let me go into my orders here and see the one that I ordered.
Everything appears to be connected properly. Not that any of that would have any bearing on the drive, but you just never know.
Okay, yeah. You can see the chat, right, that we have?
Yes.
So this is the adapter that I ordered. It was $11.99.
I see it. Well, for $11, that might call for the old saying, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it said MacBook Air, and it covers those years. So, I was really hoping it would work. And reviews say that it works fine. But the thing is, I mean, there's a small chance that Samsung is bad, but I would be shocked if that is the case.
I wouldn't expect that it would be. That would be crazy if that were the case.
Yeah. So that product has 4.5 stars.
Oh,
4.4 stars.
We're talking about something that really should be pretty solid. And that's what we took out of it too, just FYI, as a Samsung. So I just cleaned those contacts again and pop it in one more time. I feel like this all went so smoothly and so well, it really ought to detect something. And nothing is jumping to mind immediately that would be causing this to be an issue. There's no reason why it shouldn't detect something here. I know these are brand new, so there's no need to clean those. They should just work.
There's another one for $10 here.
Oh.
Converter.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. I've never used one before, so I'm not entirely certain I know what we should be anticipating.
Yeah, this one's got a poor review, so I wouldn't go with that one.
There you go. That answers that question.
It's one on eBay here, but I wanted to see if maybe Other World Computing has one. I just wonder how much they charge. Oh, I think they sell their own drives, not an adapter.
Hmm.
Well, I could keep looking. Or,
Got plenty of time. We're still waiting for this to boot up.
yeah. I mean, if it works now, it'd be great if it was just the connectors needed a little bit of a cleaning. Although those products are brand new, so don't know. But stuff doesn't always work. There is one for $15 on Amazon.
It is taking a little bit longer to boot this time. There we go. And we're in.
Let's see this one.
Look at that old icon. Oh. All right, cross your fingers. Nothing.
Ah, rats. All right. Well, here's what I can do. I can get a different one, mail it out to you. In the meantime, if you have some time, when you have some time, if you want to move that other logic board to the other computer and see if you get any traction with that, we could hopefully find out if the SSD is good, assuming that it's just something to do with that logic board. But if it works in the other computer and it doesn't work in this one, I kind of didn't do myself any favors by asking you to help me out here, because now I've got a machine that won't read an SSD. But yeah, it's $15 and it says for returns, so I could mail it out to you. Okay. What do you think is the best course of action here?
I think the first thing we should do, we'll let this one be as is for now. What I should do is assemble the other one. And I'll do that one off camera because I'm sure nobody wants to sit around and watch that.
Right. No, I get you.
Yeah, and then once I've got that reassembled, have this hard drive back in it, then we can boot that one up and see if anything happens. And I can probably boot it from the same SD card, right?
Yeah, there's no reason you couldn't. Yeah,
so we can do that, and then once we do that, that will give us an idea. If that drive shows up, even if it's dead, if it at least shows up in disk utility, then that tells me there's something with this controller that might be amiss.
Yeah. So the one that you're taking out now, is that the Apple branded one, or is that the Samsung?
This is the one that was original to that other machine, right?
Okay.
So this is the 1 terabyte upgrade that you sent me.
Okay, and it's not reading it. Okay.
Yeah. Although I am persistent, if not anything else, I'm gonna try one more time.
Okay.
For good measure, because who knows? Who knows? Sometimes these things like to be petty. Or finicky is probably the right word.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give it one more go. Because you never know. And thankfully this SD card came in clutch because way faster to boot this way.
Yeah, it
All I
turned
have
out
to
that
do,
way.
yeah, all I have to do is format this drive if it decides to play nicely.
Yeah.
And once that happens, this thing is gold.
Yeah, you just kind of button up the screws and we're good.
Call it a day. All right, one last show here. Let's hope it takes. Come on, disk utility
Wait, do you
player.
want to? Oh, did you take that off camera or are you good?
I already took it off camera. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
it
was
doesn't
looking.
see it.
Doesn't see it. Okay. Well, thank you for the effort on trying that last part, and of course, thank you so much for making that swap. That's an improvement.
It was fun.
So, yeah. Hey, I do wonder before you shut down, do you have a Thunderbolt, a mini Thunderbolt to Thunderbolt, or not Thunderbolt, a mini DVI to DVI cable that you could plug this into and see off the SD card?
I would have to go searching for it.
You'd have to search for it. Okay.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
Even if I were to plug it in, I don't have anything to plug it into in terms of displays. I don't have a display that has a VGA or a DVI connector.
Okay. Gotcha.
So everything I have is USB-C or HDMI now.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And, hopefully we'll have a round 2 and see some hopeful results.
Yeah. So ultimately, I mean, we did good here. We made a lot of progress. That was pretty impressive. I'm going to go ahead and just put the screws in so we can wrap this up properly. And then this one is at the very least done. So let me do that real quick.
I'm going to disconnect that battery before you start, though.
Up. Good man. See, this is why I'm happy to have you on with me as I'm doing this stuff, because you're looking out.
Trying.
That's gonna keep me from fumbling. But yeah, overall, this was a pretty easy repair. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say this was about a 7, maybe a 6.
6 in terms of difficulty or success?
Yeah, a 6 in terms of difficulty. Honestly, it may not even be that high. Maybe it's more like a 5 or a 4. I think I'm giving it a higher number just because I was a little nervous.
Well, I think you're also considering your skill set here, because I wonder how many people would want to go through that delicate of a move. This is why you're the expert, right?
In terms of somebody doing this at home, if they're a novice, I probably wouldn't recommend it. If there's somebody that's, taken apart a device before, it's probably around a 6. It's just a lot to keep an eye on. And really the most important part, these little speaker wires are notorious for cracking. These guys right here, boy, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've broke those. So that's something to consider. Aside from that, I'd say the majority of the cables came loose pretty easily. These guys are also very easy to muck up, because if you don't put them back on directly, they can bend and then they'll never go back on again. So those are a little bit difficult, but for the most part, the rest of it's pretty easy. And Apple made a great machine. Like the battery, wow, this was huge, being able to take that out as easily as I could. Yeah. So that was nice. All right, so we're gonna put the back casing back on it, if I can find it. And then for now, I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws back in it, because I just don't want to lose anything. Uh-oh, what do we got going on here? Someone to seat securely. There we go. I also remember, I think it was the MacBook Pros of the similar generation that I used to really get peeved at when taking them apart, because there's clips in the back that it snaps into and out of, and they could be troublesome sometimes. But this thing came apart nicely. Something else you might notice I do too is I put these screws back in. I don't tighten them all down initially, and I always screw backwards until they snap, until they make a popping sound.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps ensure that they go in without stripping them.
Nice.
Some of them do it better than others. And in the case of this, because there's a chance we might get back into it, I'm probably not going to tighten the screws. I just want to
Just have them there. Yeah.
that way they don't get lost. They don't get a cat messing with them.
Yeah, that's not going to go well.
No.
For you or the cat, probably.
All right. Well, that one feels a little tight. There we go. Oh yeah, Jim likes to mess with screws, that's for sure. But he's a cat. That's what he does.
Yeah. Cats are interesting because they don't, at least the ones I had when I was younger, they would be fascinated by the things that you and I were like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like a cardboard box. They just go have a heyday with it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, my favorite thing about most cats, and I'm sure people who are cat owners can relate, but cats always wanting to get into the thing that you don't want them to get into. They're like kids. It's like you tell them, don't get into that, and then they totally get into it.
Have you ever watched Red Dwarf?
Yeah, I used to watch that way back in the day.
Yeah. I love how the one of the characters is a cat that evolved over so many years.
Yeah, because the ship is, what, hundreds of years old, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, everyone went into cryostasis, and the cat survived and rubbed around the ship and evolved into a human that is very, very much like a cat. It's a fun show.
Very cat-like. All right, that's it. We've got it all back together. And then I guess the next step is I'll reassemble that one. I'm going to do that offline. I think we'll just call it quits here. And then, yeah, maybe this will make it to the web. We'll see. I'm going to rewatch it a little bit and see if the audio is good and everything worked out. And if so, I might just go ahead and post it. So.
Fantastic. Thank you, Will.